Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going to unpack a story that honestly just blew up recently. We're talking about a massive collision between intense judicial language, some totally sensationalized media headlines, and a deeply, deeply damaging criminal epidemic hiding in plain sight. We are going to break down the sheer controversy around the Chief Justice of India's viral remarks, see how they kicked off this massive debate about the dignity of Indian youth, and then we're going to connect the dots to the sprawling fake degree scam that actually triggered this whole shebang. Let's get into it. Right, so here is the exact quote that started the firestorm. There are youngsters like cockroaches who don't get any employment or have any place in profession. When these oral observations from Chief Justice of India, Surya Kent, hit the public sphere, wow, the reaction was absolutely explosive. I mean, the language is undeniably harsh, right? Using the word cockroaches to describe youngsters, that naturally sparked massive, massive public outrage. It hit a real nerve, triggering this fierce debate regarding the dignity of Indian youth, especially considering millions of them are out there desperately struggling to find honest employment in what is a crazy competitive landscape. Now, if your entry point into this whole controversy was just endlessly scrolling through viral headlines, you would absolutely think the highest office of the justice system was launching this unprovoked direct attack on India's unemployed youth. You know how it is. The media narrative completely painted this picture of an out-of-touch judiciary just mocking the very real, everyday challenges faced by genuine job seekers. But, and this is a big but, as is literally always the case with these viral moments, taking a single sentence out of a highly dynamic courtroom exchange, it completely strips away the actual story. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive, undeniable gap between the sensationalized headline you saw and the actual target of the CJI's frustration. The Chief Justice actually came out and explicitly clarified that he was painfully misquoted. His remarks, they were never aimed at genuine job seekers, not at all. Instead, his really intense criticism was specifically aimed at a highly dangerous subset of individuals, people who are illegally entering noble professions by basically using fake and bogus degrees. So the outrage you felt was totally real, but it was being directed at the completely wrong narrative. Let's look a bit closer at his exact clarification here. He explained, similar persons have sneaked into the media, social media, and other noble professions as well, and hence, they are like parasites. So who exactly is he calling out? He's pointing straight at the fraudsters. He is targeting individuals who completely bypass legitimate education and hard work and instead opt for forged qualifications just to infiltrate systems like the Bar Council, media, or RTI activism. He's saying they are parasites because they're essentially draining the credibility of these vital institutions from the inside out. To really grasp the level of frustration here, we kind of have to set the scene. We have to look at where these words were actually spoken. Guys, this wasn't some planned press conference. It was a really tense Friday courtroom hearing. The bench was dealing with a petitioner from a lawyer who was very aggressively seeking a senior advocate designation. And the bench had to sternly step in and remind the petitioner, like, hey, this designation is an honor conferred by the courts. It is not just some title to be chased down. And that tension totally boiled over when the bench brought up the rampant issue of individuals attacking institutions on social media and the fake qualifications creeping into the legal profession itself. That specific courtroom friction, that's what birthed those sharp remarks. So to definitively put this whole dignity of the youth debate to rest, the CJI actually issued a super clear statement. He called the reports that he was targeting Indian youth totally baseless. Look at what he noted here. Not only am I proud of our present and future human resource, I too see them as the pillars of a developed India. That is a pretty complete clarification, right? It finally separates the genuine, incredibly hardworking youth of the nation from the literal criminal element he was actually trying to expose. Let's move to and see how this builds, because now that we've cleared away all that media noise, we can focus on the actual, real-world crime the Chief Justice was calling out. We are pivoting away from a controversy over vocabulary to a massive, systemic epidemic. Seriously, when the highest court in the land sounds the alarm on fake qualifications, they're not talking about some isolated one-off incidents. They're talking about highly sophisticated, cross-state criminal networks that are literally manufacturing educational credentials out of thin air. To understand just how unbelievably severe this issue actually is, let's look at the JS University scam. Uncovered by the Special Operations Group, man, this was a massive racket operating right out of a private university in Shekoabad, Uttar Pradesh. We aren't talking about someone embellishing a single resume here. This network was systematically issuing forged BPED, that's Bachelor of Physical Education, mark sheets, and totally fake degrees. And they were specifically designed to help completely ineligible candidates steal coveted government jobs. It's wild. Let me walk you through the exact operational steps of how this criminal network successfully infiltrated the system. It was a highly coordinated three-step fraud. Step 1. The candidates falsely claimed they had a foundational graduation degree from Arna University up in Himachal Pradesh. Step 2. They acquire a completely forged BPED mark sheet allegedly issued by JS University over in Uttar Pradesh. And then Step 3. Armed with these totally fabricated credentials, they literally secure government jobs as physical education teachers all the way over in Rajasthan. It's a calculated, deliberate fraud spanning 3 entire states. And that brings us to a truly staggering number, 108. The SOG didn't just find a couple of bad actors here. They examined the documents of over 5,000 candidates. Let that sink in. Out of the 254 individuals who submitted BPEd degrees, specifically from JS University, a shocking 108 of them were completely 100% fake. When investigators actually went back and checked the foundational university's records, none of these accused individuals even existed in their system. Like they literally ghosted their way into government jobs. But what makes this corruption almost absurdly blatant is the university's actual physical capacity. JS University was officially authorized for only 100 seats per session for this specific program, yet somehow they were issuing hundreds and hundreds of these degrees. I mean, it's either a miraculous feat of defying physics or, much more accurately, a massive institutional failure where an officially recognized university was essentially operating as a 24/7 printing press for fake credentials. Now, the real-world fallout of this scam has been incredibly dramatic. Because of this investigation, 134 physical education teachers who bought these forged credentials have been flat-out dismissed. But the law went right after the top of the supply chain, too. In what sounds like a scene straight out of a movie, the vice-chancellor of JS University, Sukesh Yadav, was literally arrested at the Delhi airport while attempting to flee the country. They also nabbed the registrar, Nandan Mishra, and the middleman Ajay Bardwaj, who facilitated all the deals. It was a total dismantling of the enterprise. So the crucial point is, bringing these two narratives together leaves us with a genuinely fascinating societal debate. It's a debate about public discourse versus judicial restraint. Look at perspective A. When you are faced with organized gangs selling degrees and unqualified people teaching our children, a lot of folks argue that aggressive, shocking language like cockroaches or parasites is a completely justified human reaction to condemn systemic institutional rot. But then look at perspective B. There's an equally strong argument that regardless of how incredibly frustrating and deep the corruption goes, the highest office of the justice system must always maintain measured, dignified courtroom decorum simply because their words carry such immense weight and can easily cause unintended public harm. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly thought-provoking question for today. How can the justice system aggressively call out systemic rot while simultaneously maintaining the measured restraint expected of its highest office? It is a super delicate balance of power, language, and public perception. The fake degree epidemic is very real and very damaging, but so is the impact of words spoken from the highest bench in the land. Where exactly do you draw the line between necessary condemnation and judicial decorum? It's something to really chew on. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.